Love is not just about butterflies. It's not about flowers on Valentine's Day or late night texts saying, I miss you. Real love, it demands something deeper, something tougher, something many people forget in the heat of emotion. Respect. Without it, love is nothing but a beautiful illusion set to crash. You want love that lasts. Then listen close, because this will change the way you see love forever. Love without respect is just possession. It's a hard truth people don't want to hear, because love, in its most romanticized form, looks so beautiful. It sings songs and writes poems. It clutches your hand in public and makes grand declarations in front of the world. But strip all that away, and you'll find that if love doesn't come with respect, it's hollow. It's smoke with no fire. And worse, it's dangerous. When love lacks respect, it stops being a force of growth and becomes a weapon of control. You don't own someone just because you love them. That's not love. That's entitlement. Real love doesn't bind. It doesn't trap. It doesn't look at a human being and say, you're mine now, so you'll do what I say. You'll change for me. You'll become the version I'm most comfortable with. That's not love. That's possession. And it suffocates the soul. Because nobody, no matter how in love, deserves to be put in a cage. You can't wrap someone in chains and call it closeness. You can't silence their voice and call it peace. Real love makes space. It doesn't erase. We've been taught to equate intensity with love. The more someone calls, texts, watches over you, gets jealous, the more they must love you, right? No, that's not passion. That's fear. That's insecurity wearing the mask of devotion. Possessiveness says, I love you, so you must revolve around me. Respect says, I love you, so I honor who you are, even when I'm not comfortable, even when it challenges me. There is no real love without that depth of understanding. Possessiveness may feel flattering in the moment, but it always turns into resentment. Always. When respect is missing, the power dynamic shifts. Suddenly, one person's needs always come first. Their voice is louder. Their desires take priority. And slowly, silently, the other person starts to shrink. They stop speaking up. They begin doubting themselves. They hesitate before they share an opinion. That's not what love is meant to do. Real love should amplify your voice, not silence it. It should help you stand taller, not make you question your worth. And when you're in love without respect, you start disappearing in plain sight. And here's where it gets dangerous. Love without respect normalizes emotional abuse. When someone speaks to you with cruelty, but ends the conversation with, I love you, that confuses the heart. It teaches you that love comes with pain. That being dismissed or humiliated is just part of the package. But that's not love. It's manipulation. Because anyone can say, I love you. It's easy. But only the ones who truly respect you will treat you with care. They'll protect your dignity in every interaction. They won't weaponize love to control or diminish you. The most painful part, many people stay. They stay in relationships that lack respect because the love feels so real, so consuming. But love alone is not enough. It never has been. Without respect, love becomes a slow erosion of self. You give and give and give until there's nothing left but fragments. Real love doesn't reduce you. It doesn't make you smaller so someone else can feel bigger. It sees your fullness. It celebrates your individuality. It stands beside you, not above you. Because when love is real, it respects you at your worst, honors you at your best, and holds your hand with grace through everything in between. You can say, "I love you," 100 times a day, but if your actions don't match your words, those words are meaningless. Love isn't measured by how often you say it. It's proven by how deeply you respect someone in every situation. Anyone can say the right thing, but not everyone can do the right thing when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or hard. Real love is silent in moments, but its respect is loud. You see it in how someone listens, how they show up when no one's watching, how they treat you when they're angry, tired, or challenged. That's the language of respect. And that's where love lives. Respect in love means valuing someone's perspective, even when you don't agree with it. You don't interrupt them, belittle them, or roll your eyes when they speak. You listen, truly listen, not just to respond, but to understand. Love that respects doesn't dominate the conversation or seek to win. It creates space for dialogue, even in disagreement. You can fight and still be respectful. You can argue and still be kind. Because when love is real, your goal isn't to be right. It's to be connected. That's the power of love that's grounded in respect. It sees the human behind the mistake, not just the moment of imperfection. When two people respect each other, love becomes a safe space, not a battlefield, not a power struggle, but a home. A place where you can lay your vulnerabilities down without fear of being judged. Respect says, "I see your flaws, but I don't weaponize them." It says, "I won't use your past against you, even when I'm hurt." Respect in love holds boundaries without building walls. It knows how to stand firm without becoming cruel. And that balance of compassion with conviction is what transforms love from emotional chaos into something steady and life-giving. The real test of love and respect isn't when everything is sweet and easy. It's when it gets hard. It's in the heat of an argument, the stress of daily life, the weight of misunderstandings. In those moments, love without respect lashes out. It blames, it shames. But love with respect takes a breath. It pauses. It chooses grace over ego. Not because it's weak, but because it's wise. Because it knows that tearing someone down just to make a point costs more than it's worth. Because it values the relationship more than the temporary satisfaction of winning the fight. Respect also means honoring a person's time, energy, and efforts. It means acknowledging their sacrifices, showing appreciation, and never taking them for granted. Love that respects doesn't expect someone to keep giving without recognition. It sees the little things, the everyday kindnesses, the emotional labor, the quiet strength, and says, "I notice, I value you." Too often, people think grand gestures make up for everyday neglect. But the truth is, the foundation of real love is built in the consistent, respectful attention to each other's humanity. Not the gifts, not the public praise, but the private integrity. And respect is most visible in how you speak about your partner when they're not around. If love is real, you protect their name in rooms they're not in. You don't expose their weaknesses to others or laugh at their pain for a punchline. You defend them, honor them, and hold them sacred even when they're not present to see it. That's the ultimate expression of love rooted in respect. Loyalty in silence. Because when love is grounded in respect, it doesn't perform, it just is. Steady, fierce, unshakable. Without respect, there is no trust. And without trust, confidence the key to, love begins to decay from the inside out. It might look good on the outside. You might still be posting happy pictures, saying the right words, doing the couple things. But inside, there's a slow unraveling. Trust isn't just about fidelity. It's about reliability. It's about emotional safety. It's about knowing that your heart is in good hands. And that kind of security only exists when two people respect each other enough to be honest, to be transparent, and to be consistent. Without respect, trust crumbles. And once that trust is gone, love becomes a guessing game soaked in fear. When respect is absent, you start second guessing everything. You wonder if your partner is telling you the whole truth. You feel anxious about things you used to feel secure in. Confidence truly is the key to. You stop speaking freely because you're unsure how your words will be twisted or used against you. You start walking on eggshells, trying not to trigger a reaction, trying to keep the peace. That's not love. That's survival. Real love doesn't make you feel like you're constantly trying to avoid landmines. It makes you feel seen, safe, and supported. And that level of emotional stability can only come when respect runs deep. Respect is the foundation of honesty. When someone respects you, they don't lie to you. Not because they're afraid of getting caught, but because they value your right to the truth. They don't manipulate facts or hide behind half-truths to avoid consequences. They're real with you, even when it's uncomfortable. And when you respect them back, you don't punish them for their honesty. You create an environment where truth can breathe. This kind of mutual respect makes truth telling a reflex, not a risk. That's how trust grows. Through repeated experiences of being respected in moments where dishonesty would have been easier. Trust isn't about controlling or monitoring the other person. It's about letting go, knowing they won't betray you. And that kind of freedom only exists in relationships where both people respect each other's boundaries and choices. They don't feel the need to constantly prove their loyalty because respect has already done the groundwork. You don't need to read their messages or track their moves when you know they hold your trust like something sacred. And that only happens when there's deep, unwavering respect at the core of the relationship. When respect is present, forgiveness becomes possible. It's easier to heal when you know that even in moments of failure, the other person still sees your worth. Trust doesn't mean perfection. It means safety. It means believing that when someone messes up, they'll take responsibility and do better. Respect fuels that belief. It reminds you that mistakes don't define the relationship if both people are willing to show up with humility and effort. Without respect, even small mistakes feel like betrayal. With respect, even big stumbles become opportunities for deeper understanding. In a relationship rooted in respect, trust becomes effortless. You stop needing constant reassurance. You stop scanning conversations for hidden meanings. You rest. You breathe. You move through the world knowing your partner is your teammate, not your opponent. Respect creates a rhythm where both hearts can beat in harmony, not always in agreement, but always in alignment. And in that space, trust isn't something you have to chase. It's something you live in. Every day, quietly, steadily, and without fear. You teach people how to love you by how you love yourself. That's not just a quote. It's a law. When you show up in the world owning your worth, honoring your boundaries, and walking with confidence in who you are, you set a standard. You don't have to demand respect. You command it simply by existing in full truth. But when you neglect your own needs, tolerate disrespect, or stay silent to keep the peace, you signal to others that they can do the same. Love doesn't start with them. It starts with you. And the foundation of every healthy relationship is built on how deeply you respect yourself first. Self-respect isn't arrogance. It's not loud or boastful. It's quiet, steady, and unshakable. The key to. It's in the choices you make when no one's watching. It's how you speak to yourself after failure. How you show up when you've been hurt. How you hold space for your own healing. When you carry self-respect, you don't settle for crumbs. You don't entertain people who treat you like an afterthought. You don't stay in places where your presence feels like a burden. And when someone offers you love that lacks consistency, kindness, or clarity, you walk away, not out of spite, but out of reverence for your own soul. Too often, we're taught that love requires sacrifice, that to be good partners, we must bend, break, or become smaller to fit someone else's version of who we should be. But that's not love. That's erasure. Love doesn't ask you to abandon yourself. It doesn't demand that you trade your dreams for someone else's comfort. When you respect yourself, you no longer confuse struggle with devotion. You stop glorifying pain as proof of love. You realize that any connection that requires you to betray your own voice is not a relationship. It's a slow self-destruction. And the truth is, people mirror what you model. If you speak with love about yourself, they learn to speak to you with care. If you protect your time, your energy, your peace, they begin to understand your value. But if you constantly overextend, apologize for your needs, or allow mistreatment just to keep someone around, they will follow that lead. You are the blueprint. Self-respect is not just about personal empowerment. It's about setting the emotional tone for every relationship you allow into your life. You either teach others to love you well, or you teach them you'll accept anything. Boundaries are one of the highest forms of self-respect. They are not walls meant to shut others out. They're gates that decide what energy you allow in. When you know who you are, what you deserve, and what you will not tolerate, you protect yourself from love that's reckless. Boundaries aren't about being difficult. They're about clarity. They say, this is how I need to be treated if you want to stay in my life. And when someone respects those boundaries, you'll know their love isn't just about desire, it's about honor. Self-respect is also about healing. It's about doing the hard, necessary inner work so that your love doesn't come from fear, desperation, or emptiness. When you respect yourself, you take the time to understand your patterns, to grieve your past, to unlearn what no longer serves you. You no longer chase love to feel whole. You bring your wholeness into love. And that changes everything. Because when you meet someone from a place of fullness, you're not looking to be saved. You're looking to be met. And only those who truly respect you will be able to meet you there. When love is real, it uplifts. Not just with words, but with energy, with presence, with intention. Real love doesn't compete, doesn't compare, doesn't criticize you into being better. It believes in you so deeply that you start believing in yourself more. That's the power of love with respect. It becomes fuel. It doesn't drain you or make you question your worth. It reminds you of your strength even when you forget. Respect in love sounds like encouragement, looks like support, and feels like safety. It's someone showing up, not to fix you, but to stand beside you as you rise. In a respectful relationship, growth isn't a threat. It's the goal. You're not afraid to evolve, to shift, to chase the things that set your soul on fire. Because you know your partner celebrates your expansion, not fears it. Real love doesn't feel insecure when you succeed. It doesn't ask you to tone down your dreams or shrink yourself to maintain balance. Respectful love sees your ambition as beautiful. It doesn't hold you back. It says, go. I've got your back. That kind of love doesn't just support your journey. It actively becomes part of it, cheering you on with pride, not jealousy. Too many people call it love. When someone gets jealous of their success or intimidated by their independence, that's not love. That's insecurity hiding behind emotion. Real, respectful love doesn't need to control or overshadow. It understands that two strong individuals can grow side by side, not at the expense of one another. There's no need to outshine, no need to compete. In fact, love rooted in respect becomes the safest space for you to thrive. Because you know your light doesn't threaten them, it inspires them. And their light inspires you. Respect in love also means understanding that your partner is a whole person with their own dreams, wounds, and timelines. It means you don't pressure them to grow at your pace. You meet them where they are, with compassion, not judgment. You hold space for their process, without making it about your discomfort. Real love isn't impatient. It doesn't push for perfection. It understands that growth is messy, nonlinear, and deeply personal. Respect says, I'm not here to mold you. I'm here to walk beside you while you unfold. That kind of presence builds trust, builds depth, builds forever. When love respects your journey, it doesn't just support your career or your goals. It supports your healing. It recognizes the pain you carry, and it doesn't shame you for it. It holds space for your triggers, your scars, your silent battles. Love with respect doesn't say, get over it. It says, I'm here while you work through it. That patience, that gentleness, confidence truly too, that steady belief that you are still deserving even when you're hurting. That is what helps a person become their best self. Not pressure, not criticism, but respect layered with love offered consistently. And the beautiful result of all this, you grow, not just as individuals, but as a team. Your relationship becomes a space of transformation, not stagnation. You challenge each other, inspire each other, push each other, not from a place of lack, but from a deep desire to rise together. That's what respectful love does. It doesn't just say, I love you. It shows it through action, through patience, through presence. and through a deep, unshakable commitment to becoming the best version of yourselves. Together, not by controlling one another, but by believing in each other fully and freely. A love that lasts isn't built on the grand gestures or fleeting moments of passion. It's built on the consistency of everyday respect. It's how people show up for each other, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. When life gets messy, when stress takes over, when patience wears thin. That's when respect reveals its true power. Because in those moments, love alone isn't enough. You can love someone deeply and still damage them if you don't respect them. Real love pauses before it wounds. It thinks before it reacts. It considers the weight of its words and the impact of its silence. In lasting love, respect becomes a daily decision. It's how you handle conflict. Do you raise your voice to win, or do you lower it to understand? Do you listen only to respond, or do you listen to actually hear? Real love doesn't fight to be right. It fights to stay connected. It asks, how can we get through this together? Not, how can I make you feel small so I can feel powerful? When respect is at the center of love, disagreements become doorways to deeper connection, not battlegrounds. Because both people care more about protecting the relationship than protecting their pride. Respect is also in the little things, the unnoticed things. It's in the tone you use, even when you're tired. It's in saying thank you, even for the things they've done 100 times. It's in remembering what matters to them, showing up when it counts, and being someone they can depend on. Love fades quickly when taken for granted, but respect keeps it alive by tending to it every day, with kindness, attentiveness, and intentional care. It's not the date nights or surprises that hold love together. It's the consistency of being present in both the magic and the mundane. Lasting love doesn't thrive in fantasy. It lives in reality. And in that reality, respect is the glue. It's what helps two people navigate the challenges of time. Career changes, family struggles, personal growth, loss, transitions. Emotions change, chemistry shifts. But when respect remains, love adapts. It transforms from the fiery rush of passion to the steady warmth of partnership. And that kind of love, rooted in respect, doesn't fear change. It evolves with it. It says, I see who you were, I accept who you are, and I support who you're becoming. That's how love lasts. Not through perfection, but through mutual evolution. Respectful love gives space without creating distance. It understands that two people need air to breathe, need solitude to reflect, need time to grow individually. It doesn't cling or smother. It trusts. It lets each person follow their curiosity, chase their calling, explore their identity, without guilt or suspicion. Because when respect is present, love doesn't fear independence. It celebrates it. And when both people feel free within the relationship, the bond doesn't weaken. It strengthens. Because nothing is more powerful than two people who choose each other not out of need, but out of genuine, renewed desire. And above all, lasting love with respect honors the humanity of the other person. It knows they will make mistakes. They will fall short. They will have bad days. But it also knows that love doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. Respect says, you're allowed to be human here. It creates a safe space for vulnerability, for softness, for imperfection. The key to it holds you when you're broken and believes in you when you've forgotten your own strength. That is what sustains love through the years. Not flawless behavior, but an unwavering respect that sees the soul, even when the surface gets messy. Love without respect is loud but empty. It says the right things, posts the perfect pictures, maybe even gives you butterflies. But deep down, something is missing. Words lose their meaning when actions don't match. You can tell someone you love them every single day. But if your behavior respects their feelings, their boundaries, or their dignity, the love becomes hollow. It doesn't nourish, it doesn't protect, it doesn't build. Real love isn't just about how someone feels in the moment. It's about how they consistently show up, even when it's inconvenient. Respect makes love real. Without it, all you have is noise. You can't call it love if it humiliates, if it shames you, mocks your dreams, ignores your needs. Don't label it as passion. That's not intensity. That's emotional immaturity. Real love doesn't sting. It doesn't make you feel small, so the other person can feel big. It doesn't laugh when you cry or walk away when you need to be held. Love that comes without respect will leave you questioning your own reality. You'll start justifying pain as part of the package, thinking maybe this is what love feels like. But no, that's not love. It's erosion. Slow, steady erosion of your self-worth. Too many people confuse attachment with love. They stay in relationships where they're constantly disrespected because they've grown used to the chaos, the unpredictability, the emotional roller coaster. But love isn't supposed to feel like survival. You shouldn't have to brace yourself every time your partner walks into the room. You shouldn't feel like you're constantly trying to prove your worth or earn their kindness. Respectful love brings peace, not anxiety. It makes your nervous system exhale. It gives you permission to be fully you without fear of being punished for it. Respect doesn't mean perfection. It means care. It means that even when someone's upset, they don't cross the line. They don't weaponize your insecurities or throw your past in your face. They don't twist your words or punish your vulnerability. Real love holds boundaries even in anger. It says, I'm hurt, but I still see your humanity. That kind of love doesn't leave scars. It leaves lessons. It teaches you that conflict doesn't have to be destructive, that you can disagree and still maintain dignity, that raising your voice doesn't make your point stronger. It just drowns out the respect. When respect is missing, the relationship starts to rot from the inside. Maybe not all at once, but slowly, quietly. A little dismissal here, a sarcastic jab there, forgotten promises, neglected needs. By bit, love turns cold. You still say, I love you, but it feels routine, mechanical, like a habit instead of a truth. The connection weakens because respect is what keeps love alive. It's the oxygen. Without it, key to, you're just going through the motions, pretending everything's fine while your soul is gasping for air. Love without respect is a slow death. And most people don't even realize they're bleeding until they're empty. But once you've experienced love with deep, unwavering respect, you never forget it. You learn to recognize the real from the counterfeit. You stop entertaining relationships that demand your silence, your sacrifice, your suffering in exchange for occasional affection. You begin to require more, not in a selfish way, but in a self-honoring way, because you now know what love is supposed to feel like. You know it speaks softly, listens deeply, and holds gently. And anything less than that isn't love, not real love, not the kind that sustains, heals, and transforms. Respect isn't optional, it's the soul of love. Without it, love dies long before the goodbye ever happens. So now ask yourself, what kind of love are you choosing? Are you settling for words without substance? Or are you standing for a love that respects your mind, your heart, your boundaries, your soul? Because the truth is, you deserve a love that doesn't just say it cares, but proves it daily, in the quiet moments and the hard ones. Don't wait for someone to finally see your worth. You set the standard. You teach the world how to love you by how fiercely you honor yourself first. And when you stop accepting love without respect, something powerful happens. Your whole life begins to rise. So if this message stirred something in you, share it. Don't keep it to yourself. Someone else out there needs to hear this truth. And most importantly, live it. Demand the kind of love that doesn't break you down, but builds you up. Because real love starts with real respect, and you are worthy of nothing less.